Hi guys, it's so good to have you back here. It's such an honor and privilege to continue to engage with you on a monthly basis. So first of all, as you know, we are still in the Women's Day month celebration. So if you're a woman out there, happy Women's Day. You are doing great. We are seeing you and we are cheering you on. And if you're a male and you are watching me and you have a significant woman that you know, that you love and care about, please go forth and give them a big hug and a high five and thank them for the good work that they are doing and encourage them to keeping on. As you're aware, as a lawyer in the technology sector, I'm very passionate about matters such as these, which are aimed at closing the gender gap, especially using technology. And as you're aware, the benefits I have as a woman in Kampala right now may not be the same benefits that a young woman in my village, in Karumena village, has. Yeah, and that is why this is very important for me. So on 6th March, no, I think it was 7th March. On 7th March, we had Women's Day celebration at Untitled Uganda, and a couple of things were shared, and these really inspired me. But over and above inspiring me, I thought that I would also share these things with you in the hope that they will benefit you or someone that you know. And also I have shared with you in the past that before I joined Airtel, I was working with a real estate company that is mainly manned by surveyors and engineers. So I've had quite some experience with working with engineers, and I usually like to tag myself and in my posts with the hashtag lawyer engineering. So briefly, what I picked from the celebrations was this: every single person out there has been raised by a strong woman, including you who is watching me right now. What does that mean? That women are the core of the nurturing process and every little detail that happens in someone's growth. And what that implies is that it is very important that women are empowered, yeah? And what does that also mean? That when you're empowering a woman, you are unknowingly empowering the entire nation. So it is very important that those gaps are closed to enable women not only achieve self-actualization, but then also continue to inspire and nurture others. Then the other thing that stood out was that traditionally men were hunters. The work that was there to be done was manual work, and this needed muscles. But times have changed, and right now the work that needs to be done is more of brain work, brain muscle, than physical muscle. What does that mean? What that implies is that even that young woman in the rural areas that is not able to access the sort of technology that we have here, the devices, the iPhones, the cameras, the YouTubing that we are doing, their brain still has a lot of intellect, a lot of content that the whole world can benefit from. And what does that imply? What that implies is that it is important for us to go back to the grassroots and empower that woman over there. We cannot assume and even imagine or think that empowerment only happens in this space here. No, empowerment needs to now go back to the grassroots, because every single human being has a brain. What does that mean? That every single human has a brain that works, and within that brain, there's a lot of content, there's a lot of matter that can be tapped into to develop our country and the world at large. And the other thing that was very significant for me was when he asked, how do you define yourself? Do you say I am that girl from Kisoro, or the girl from, I don't know, Hoima, Kavale, Kampala, or do you identify as a woman who is capable of doing whatever you set your mind to do, no matter where you come from. And why is this important? This is important because usually how we view ourselves ultimately affects how we get to perform even at our workplaces. So what am I trying to say? That what if we decided to choose to view ourselves as global women? I'm not only defined by where I come from, but I am more than able to do any sort of work. Actually, I don't know why I like to think that it is important to go back to that place of knowing your identity as a person and knowing that because you are created with purpose and a lot of worth, and there's a lot of intricate detail that went on around that creation when you're coming into form and eventually beginning to live out, then you have a lot of potential, and you should not identify as, oh, I am the village girl. No, identify as that woman that has a lot of things, a lot of gifts within you that you need to share with the entire world. And that is for all of us to think about, because even me, sometimes I struggle. I mean, I sometimes sit with people who are from Namagunga, King's College, Budo, and guess what, guys? I was in Zambia and Immaculate Heart. I'm like, oh, maybe it's because I was not in any of these schools. But the reality is actually that these people who went to these other schools are not any different from me, or you for that matter. It just so happens that they were in the urban area and I was in the rural area. But eventually I came to the urban area, and now somehow we are all in the same workspace. So then the question is, how do you build that woman that sometimes views herself like that, so they can break free and live out their purpose as they continue to evolve and even join the digitizing world? You get it? So that's what I'm trying to say. And then the other thing that Mr. Manoj, the MD at Airtel, pointed out was that there are 5 minds for the future, and that is what every woman needs to have. So for those, I'm going to just quickly get my phone and read through them. I hope you are able to pick something. So one was the disciplined mind. Now with a disciplined mind, apparently individuals will need to be an expert in one area. They will need to develop depth and breadth in specific disciplines. I don't know what it is that you believe you would like to specialize in, but once you specialize in that, then it also gives you clarity on what you continue to pursue. Then there is the synthesizing mind, and for this, individuals need to be able to gather together information from disparate sources, find links, transfer and communicate this knowledge. And then there is the creative mind. The creative mind, individuals are rewarded for being creative. That is the ability to construct a box and think outside of it, and then approach problems in unique ways. And then there was the respectful mind. And for the respectful mind, he says that the world of today and tomorrow is becoming increasingly diverse. Accordingly, we must respect differences and similarities and promote tolerance and understanding. And this also implies that we must look at the significance of physical, personal, and social learning. And then he talked about the ethical mind. And for the ethical mind, he said that individuals need to be able to act ethically. That is to think beyond their own self-interest and to do what is right under all the circumstances. Now, what I see from here is your values matter as a person. What are your values? What is the one thing that you would like to specialize in? And then, of course, with the technology and everything that is happening, digitizing and all, how do you begin to be creative as you continue to evolve as a woman? And he also observed that we need to be in a position where we distinguish between male, female, masculine, and feminine. These are all different things. And from my takeouts when he was sharing, I believe that every single one of us needs to have a blend of both feminine and masculine. And what does this mean? Once you have these characteristics, there are times when you will know that at this point I need to be very ruthless, or I need to be very strict. I need to be, I cannot take this lightly, because then you're being masculine. And then On the feminine side, there are times when you will have to be empathetic. You're going to be nurturing. You're going to build others. You're going to mentor others. Because again, it is important to have both a feminine and masculine characteristic. And then most importantly, the biggest question that he left with me personally, and I believe with other people because I've heard it over and over again, is that as a woman, how are you empowering others? What is your leadership style? Because your leadership style determines how you lead and how other people work with you. I think you've had some people around the corner saying that, well, women, once they are hired, they hire men instead of hiring fellow women. But then the question becomes, why do they do that? So the question still goes to the place of, it's not necessarily about you being a woman, but you knowing what your values are, knowing what you stand for, knowing what your leadership style is, and most importantly, doing the real work. Because it's not enough to just be woman. Over and above being woman, you need to do the actual work. And he also observed, and which I believe to be true, is that we need to be courageous and continue to stand up for what we believe to be true. We have to continue to learn and upskill, that I have shared with you before. And we need to continue to build our curiosity, because the world continues to evolve. And as it evolves, it also simply implies that there's a lot of learning to do. There's a lot of catching up to do, and if we do not do that, then eventually so many things will pass by us. Like, for example, guys, I don't know how many of you know, but I didn't know that there was such a thing as ChatGPT. I was a bit embarrassed, but yeah, I didn't know there was something such as ChatGPT. And then I also learned that there was a Dove and LinkedIn campaign going on about natural hair, and yeah, that day I had my corners, which I still have. So curiosity, upskilling, being informed, all these are very, very important, especially as we continue to evolve and take up our space and our place in the market space as women. So again, I really, really wish you a beautiful Women's Month, and over and above that, I wish you a lot of great success and leadership growth, and great pursuit and achievement of everything that you're trying to achieve as we continue to grow as a people and as a nation. I love you and I wish you all the best.